Is this on? Is this on? You can hear me? Sounds loud back here. You can turn off some equipment? Okay, all right, sounds good. Well, good morning, everyone. It's winter in Buffalo. Here we find ourselves once again with a major storm heading our way. And the way we handle it, as experts in dealing with snow events of this scale, it's all about what you do on the front end. It's about the preparedness. It's about bringing the teams and pre-positioning equipment. It's about the coordination that's been going on between the state, the city, and the county literally for days now, making sure that we leave no stone unturned in our efforts to make sure that we protect the people of this community, manage the storm, begin the cleanup, and get back to normal as soon as possible. So those are our objectives here. I'm proud to be joined by an incredible team of individuals, starting with our elected leaders here. We've done this many times together. Relationships with the county executive, and Mayor Byron Brown are strong, and that makes us allows us to do our jobs in a more coordinated fashion. So I'm grateful for them. You'll be hearing from them in a couple of minutes. Also, I'm joined by Jackie Bray, our Commissioner of Homeland Security and Emergency Services. She has been on the ground, brought her resources. We've been having continual briefings. You'll be hearing from her. Marie-Therese Dominguez, our Commissioner of the DOT, who's been on the ground with us through these events as many times, as well as representatives from the Thruway Metroprazo. We also have state police, parks, DEC, National Guard. National Guard is deployed and ready to go as well. So what we're talking about is a major storm. This is considered an extreme event, an extreme weather event. That means it's dangerous. It also means it's life-threatening. And that's the seriousness with which we're taking this, that this is a life-threatening storm. We may need life-saving actions or rescues, and we're ready with the equipment to handle that as well. This is very similar to 2014. I know because I was literally just elected for the first time Lieutenant Governor 1 week before. This feels very familiar. I came to Buffalo and we ended up being camped out here for days and days as we managed this storm. A lot of lessons were learned at that time, and also previous storms, about how you stop the flow of traffic from getting on heavy roads that you know are going to be impacted. Why we declared yesterday that there'll be a shutdown of commercial traffic on the New York State Thruway beginning at 4 p.m. today. And the commission will be talking about some additional roads. But that sends an early warning to the trucks that create the most dire situations on our highways. When they jackknife, as we saw in previous storms, they literally can paralyze our highways, putting people at risk, stranding motorists for hours, if not days. And that's what we're working to prevent now. So the word has been out nationally, statewide, locally, to all the commercial truck drivers. You need to stay off the New York State Thruway and the other roads to be identified during this storm event for your protection, but also the protection of other motorists on the road. As of 10 a.m. this morning, we are under a state of emergency in the 11 counties that have been identified as most at risk, from here all the way up to Watertown. The storm is going to continue. It's going to start in earnest later this afternoon. We're expecting upwards of 2 to 4 feet. And it's not just the volume, 2 to 4 feet the first night. We could possibly see anywhere from 4 to 6 feet total between now and Sunday. It is the rate of snow that is most concerning. It went from 3 to 4 inches an hour, which is extraordinary. Originally, it was forecast to be 2 inches an hour. That level of snow coming down with that intensity is what creates the dangerousness, the lack of ability to see on the roads, which is why we're saying motorists, please stay off the roads, work remotely if you can. Schools are being shut down in anticipation so we can continue the work of clearing the roads as soon as possible. But I want to manage expectations here. It is almost impossible, despite the fact that we have over 350 plows, hundreds and hundreds of people, over 600 people deployed to this region, 5,700 utility crews standing by, ready to step in here. When it's coming down at that rate, it is almost impossible to clear the road to make it safe to travel. So you have to let the snow accumulate. We'll continue our efforts, but it will not be safe for a considerable amount of time for motorists to go back on the roads. That is the message I want to make loud and clear here today. We know how to prepare. We are preparing. We have 42,000 tons of salt. We have enough salt. We have plenty of fuel for our equipment. We have the people deployed, the operators, the mechanics, anticipating anything that could go wrong. But we have no time to waste. I expect that all Western New Yorkers who are seasoned in this, and we have new people who've moved to the area, which is a great sign this may be someone's first winter. This is when you fill up the gas tank. Put cat litter in your trunk if you get stuck. We've used that myself. Get the batteries, make sure there's blankets and anything in your vehicle. If you do need to travel, if you're an essential worker, you know how to do this, be smart. But be ready for the worst. Have plenty of food in the refrigerator. And be ready to check in on your neighbors. This is something we do the best. You have senior citizens on your block or in your building. Make sure that they have what they need. Do they have enough medicine on hand? Are they being taken care of? This could go on for a number of days. We anticipate the heavy snow is going to continue falling through the weekend. The cleanup is going to take some time. And there are going to be people who need your help. So that's what we're calling on. We know how to do this. Am I sounding the alarms? Yes. Because I want Western New Yorkers to take this seriously. 1 week ago, 70 degrees. This week, we'll have an epic snowstorm. We can handle this if people are smart, help us do our job, stay off the roads, be safe. And with that, I'd like to bring up our Commissioner, Jackie Bray, who'll describe more of our preparations. But again, Western New Yorkers, please be smart about this. We're doing all we can to protect you, and now we need you to step up, protect yourselves, protect your families as well as we get through this together, as we always do. Commissioner Bray.
Governor, thank you. As the governor said, this is an extremely dangerous event, and everyone needs to take it very seriously. I just want to give a little bit more detail on the forecast, and then we'll talk about state preparations. As she said, we're expecting accumulation of up to 4 feet, and that the main hazard here from 7 p.m. tonight to 7 p.m. tomorrow, every single hour, we are going to see between 2 and 4 inches of snow fall. There will not be a time from 7 p.m. tonight until 7 p.m. tomorrow where it is safe to drive. As she said, if you must go out, you have to leave plenty of time and go very, very slowly. Visibility will likely be next to zero. The National Weather Service has deemed the event an extreme winter storm on its severity index for Jefferson County, Genesee County, and Erie County. But if you are not in those counties, you are not getting away without a very significant event. They've deemed it a significant event in Lewis, Niagara, Oswego, Cattaraugus, Chautauqua, and Wyoming. That means that travel is dangerous or impossible. It means that you will see significant disruption to infrastructure and daily activities. And for Erie, Jefferson, and Genesee, it means that we need to be prepared to take life-saving action. In terms of preparation, the state has opened a regional operations center this morning here in Erie County. We're opening our statewide operations center in Albany at 6 p.m. tonight. We'll be embedding with both the Erie County team and the Genesee County team in their emergency operations centers. We have moved snowmobiles, UTVs, and ATVs to Western New York and to the Watertown area in the event that we get into search and rescue operations. We have put the National Guard on standby in Western New York in the event that they are needed to help people get out of where they are. We are monitoring vulnerable populations in congregate settings, making sure that they continue to have power through the storm, and we have over 1,400 generators that the state can deploy from our stockpiles in the event that any of our critical infrastructure or our vulnerable congregate settings lose power. I also want to take a second to thank state employees, county employees, city employees, all of our critical infrastructure partners. Folks have been preparing for this storm for days now. They will be out. Our first responders will be out working, and it's really critical. I want to thank them, and then I also want to thank you all, New Yorkers, for staying off the roads and being patient so that they can do their job. Just one more note on what you can do. If you lose power, we don't expect widespread power outages. It does not mean that they can't happen. Winds will be 25 to 35 miles an hour and the snow will be heavy. If you lose power, it's really important, if you're going to use an alternative heating source, that you do that safely. If you're going to start your fireplace, do that safely. If you have a generator, that generator needs to be outside of your home, outside of your garage, at least 10 feet. We don't want to see an increase in carbon monoxide poisoning or other types of hazards related to those conditions. And finally, when we get ready to shovel out, the most deaths that occur during winter weather events are deaths of exertion. Over 20 people died in 2014 in this region during that snowstorm, and most of those deaths were deaths from heart attacks due to exertion. So when you get ready to shovel out, go slow, wear warm clothing, and take extra breaks. With that, I want to introduce our Transportation Commissioner, Marie-Therese Dominguez, who's going to give you details on all of the preparations for our plowing operations.
Thank you, Commissioner Bray. Thank you very much, Governor Hochul, for your leadership as we deal with this incredibly serious snow and ice event that we've got facing us. The Department of Transportation is fully engaged across the state, but most particularly here in Western New York. And make no mistake about it, we're out in force and we're supplementing our existing forces, and I'm going to go through some of those numbers in a moment here. DOT has experienced snow fighting forces. Certainly, I'll put them up against anybody in the nation, and we're truly rising to meet this challenge along with our colleagues at the New York State Thruway Authority. Right now, in addition to our base of operations that we've got here in Erie County and Western New York, we are supplementing our resources across the board. So, as the governor mentioned, DOT has added over 100 operators to the area here alone. So we're moving up on our numbers, and what that actually means is that in addition to our 410 operators that we've got and the snow plows that we've deployed, we're going to have over 500 people and an additional 200 plow trucks here in the Buffalo area. Combined forces fighting this winter weather event here in across the state. We'll have, between New York State Thruway Authority and the Department of Transportation, we've got about close to 3,944 personnel working on this event, and we've got about a large number of snowplows also doing this. I want to focus a little bit more on the areas that are impacted by commercial vehicle traffic. The governor talked about the Thruway. Those notices have gone out. We're also working in conjunction with the Thruway and the trucking associations across the nation, literally been in touch with the American Trucking Association, because we want to make sure that commercial vehicles understand the bans that are going into place this afternoon at 4 o'clock to include the Thruway, but also Interstate I-90 from Route 62 to I-90, the full lengths of Interstate 290 and 990, and the full lengths of the following state routes: Route 33, 219, 500, and the length of Route 5, the Buffalo and the Buffalo Skyway. Also, from exit 33 to the Canadian border on Interstate 81, we're going to encourage trucks to use the right lane and the right lane only. As always, New York State DOT stands ready to assist our local partners with storm response and recovery, and we're coordinating directly with County Executive and his team, with Mayor Brown and his team. We'll be doing that in coordination with our overall emergency response efforts through DISHES, our partners at the state, and certainly with the Thruway Authority. The bottom line is that we're putting all assets to work here, and all of our personnel, all of our experienced personnel, to make sure that we're as ready as possible, not only for the state roads, but again, in coordination with our local partners. NYSDOT prepares for these kinds of storms all year round, and we'll be out there for the duration, really, again, making sure that our highways and our road system are safe for Western New York. But as has been emphasized, the rate of snowfall is extremely significant, and it's going up. As was mentioned, you know, we could see up to 4 inches an hour. It doesn't matter how many people we have out and how many plow trucks we have on the roads. It's very difficult to keep up with that rate of snow. So please stay off the roads. This is going to be a very serious storm, and conditions are going to be hazardous. And the absolute best place to ride out this storm is at home. So please, please, I encourage New Yorkers, especially those out here in Western New York, please stay home. If you don't need to go out, if you have to get out, drive slowly, stay alert. Our plows only go 35 miles an hour, and they weigh tons, tons. So if you see a plow, give them space to operate, because if you try to speed up and beat a plow and outmaneuver them, the plow's gonna win. That's why I always tell motorists, no way, no how are you gonna beat a plow. So don't try. Please go slow, drive so that you can give our plow truck drivers the room they need to operate and keep everybody safe. They're only trying to make sure that the roadways are clear. So for DOT, our folks are ready. Thruway Authority's ready. We've got excellent teams on this. We're going to continue to collaborate with our local partners here. Obviously, it's snow. It's what we do. But again, appreciate everybody's cooperation as we work through this. It's going to be a challenge, but together we can get through it. Thank you very much, and thank you for your leadership, Governor.
Now we'll hear from the county executive.
Thank you, Governor. Thank you for your proactive measures to move resources into our region to assist us in what, as we all know, is going to be a significant event. It's Buffalo, it's Erie County, it's Western New York in winter. We can get these types of lake effect storms, and the best way to handle them is exactly what you've heard from the others, the governor and the commissioners. We are going to have the resources on the roads, but we need people to stay off of the roads. The biggest problem we had in the storm that started 8 years ago today was vehicles went on the roads and got stuck and prevented our plows and the other equipment from being able to keep up with the snow that was falling. As you heard, when you're getting to 3 to 4 inches of snow per hour, it doesn't matter what size vehicle you have. It is very difficult to traverse in that situation. And when it gets that bad, sometimes we have to take our plows off the roads because it's a danger to them. And I want to commend the men and women of the Department of the Thruway Authority and the Department of Transportation, as well as our friends from law enforcement and the New York State Police, because they have to be out in these conditions. And they're put their lives on the line when the conditions are so bad that if it gets that bad, we have to bring those big trucks, those big rigs in. And if we have to bring those in, you should not be on the road in your vehicle. A travel advisory will be in effect for all of Erie County effective 7 p.m. tonight. A travel advisory is in effect for Southern Erie right now as of last night. As we know, 7 to 10 inches of snow fell in various parts of Southern Erie County, including in some spots we didn't really expect. We didn't think it would go into the town or village of Hamburg. We didn't think that we'd get snow last night in East Aurora, but we did. And that just goes to show what can happen with these snow bands. They can move. You might be in an area where it's not that bad. 15 minutes later, you could have 3 to 4 inches of snow falling in your neighborhood. So what we're asking everybody is to follow the advice. Stay home. As of right now, a driving ban has not been put in place, but if conditions get as bad as they are predicted, and our eyes on the ground from our Sheriff's Office, our Department of Public Works, our Office of Homeland Security and Emergency Services, in conjunction with the partners that we have here, recommend that a driving ban be put in effect, I will certainly take that action for all of Erie County if it's necessary. But we can avoid that if people just stay home. When the snow starts to hit, the only people we really want to see on the roads are the men and women of the Thruway Authority, of the Department of Transportation, of our Public Works, of all of the various town highway departments in our community, and of course in the city of Buffalo. They're trained to handle this. And what we often see is people go out in their vehicles that are not equipped to handle this type of snow. They get stuck. They stop our plows from plowing those roads. We then have to call law enforcement to sometimes rescue these individuals. Remember what happened last time. There were individuals who unfortunately died in their vehicles because they went out and they got stuck and the weather was so bad we could not get to them for at least 24 hours. We know that this is going to be a very bad event for 24 hours of snow at a rate of at least 3 and maybe 4 inches per hour. Mother Nature is raining down on us. And the other thing I want to remind everybody, this is the first major snowstorm of the season. We often see plenty of accidents and issues during the first snowfall of the season. Nevertheless, a major snowstorm like this. So please, stay home. The Erie County Emergency Operations Center will be officially open as of 7 p.m. tonight. We actually already have staff there manning it, but we will be officially open from 7 p.m. tonight. Through the duration of the storm, we will be holding our county news briefings at the Emergency Operations Center as of 7 p.m. tonight, and then at our scheduled times that will be announced by our press officials. We know how to handle these storms. The most important thing that the public can do is to stay off the roads. You heard it from each and every one of us that have spoken so far. I assume you'll hear it from the mayor as well. But it really matters because one vehicle, one box truck, especially box trucks, that just get stuck on the road can prevent these big plows from doing their work. And what happens if we can't get the plows to keep up with the snow as it's falling? Once it gives above a foot, maybe it's 2 feet, the plows can't handle it. We have to come in with the high lifts in the bucket trucks and lift the snow, as we saw 8 years ago, put it in trucks, and that delays the effort by days for cleanup. So if people just stay home over the next 24 hours, I know that the men and women of our public works and transportation departments will be out there to make certain that the roads are clean as soon as possible. If people go out in these conditions, they are putting their lives at risk, and they're putting their lives at risk of the other individuals who then have to go out and try to save them. So please, stay home. With that, I'd like to introduce our great mayor, Mayor Byron Brown.
Thank you very much, County Executive Poloncarz, and I want to thank Governor Hochul for her leadership and the exceptional level of communication and coordination with the City of Buffalo, Erie County, and other municipalities in our region. The City of Buffalo has been in constant communication with the State of New York, with Erie County, with the Buffalo Public Schools. As you know, the Buffalo Public Schools are closed on Friday. We are prepared in the City of Buffalo for this storm. I want to recognize our Commissioner of Public Works, Nate Martin, our Deputy Commissioner for Snow Removal, Henry Jackson. They have been following and reviewing every detail of the city's snow fighting plan. But I want to be very clear. This is not your normal snow fall in the City of Buffalo or in the region. This is a snow storm with potentially deadly consequences if people do not do the right thing. So like everyone has stressed up here today, I want to ask people in the City of Buffalo and throughout our region to stay off the roads. Between Thursday at 7 and Friday at 7, there should be no unnecessary driving whatsoever. If you have to get items, if you have to stock up, if you have to do things, the time to do that is right now before the snow starts to fly. We will have a full complement of plows out in the City of Buffalo. Our drivers are ready to go. We have reviewed every detail. The state has offered assistance with plows. We thank Governor Hochul and the Commissioner of Homeland Security and Transportation for their assistance. I want to again just thank all of the men and women of Homeland Security, the Thruway, the State Police, Buffalo Public Works, our fire department and police department, which have also been coordinating with Public Works for any emergency responses that are needed. As I conclude, again, I want to emphasize this is not the normal snow event that we get. So the public has to be patient. The public can't look at this as an average snowfall. This is a major snowstorm, and we are prepared for it. Thank you very much.
Any questions? Outside of Western New York, outside of Buffalo, I think they're hearing what we're seeing. They're seeing the same forecast we are. I would encourage everyone to have remote learning or have a snow day tomorrow. I'm not telling them. I'm saying that based on what we're seeing over an 11-county region, you know, if they want our advice, we are looking at it very seriously. And not having school buses on the roads will make it a lot easier for whether it's Erie County or other counties to help us. You know, they'll help us tremendously. County Executive.
We had direct conversations with the school district representatives yesterday, and we've continued those. I feel very confident by the end of the school day today, most of the school districts in the immediate impact zone will have announced closures for tomorrow. But they are independent entities, and they have to make that decision. But I feel very confident that they're going to.
During the snowstorm in 2014, we know that there were each municipality had to reach out to the county
Yes.
for that DLAN system. Is that still going to be the case, or has that changed?
Correct. DLAN system is still in effect. DLAN is a disaster land, and it works with New York Responds that the commissioner can talk about, as well as the governor. That is the system that allows local governments, local municipalities to request assistance from Erie County, or if we're unable to provide it, to go directly and get that assistance request to New York State. I was on a conference call yesterday with the mayor, representatives of the various towns. I think we had about 50 people on the call, and we reminded them that the DLAN system, disaster land system, is the way to request assistance. It's not to try to call someone. It's not to send an email. It's to use, in every town, as well as the city, has emergency managers. They're trained in how to use the disaster land system so that it goes straight into our county system as well as New York Responds, so we know where there are shortfalls. The issue is, depending on the severity and the request, we may not always be able to honor it immediately. So if a community is having problems responding to the snow, we need to know about it as soon as possible, and we will try to get that additional equipment there as quickly as possible. But when you have multiple municipalities all requesting the same amount at the same time, it's sometimes different to meet all of those needs. As I said yesterday, except for essential personnel, emergency personnel, I think tomorrow should be a snow day for pretty much all of our community.
So we're going to evaluate the need for a full travel ban over the course of today. I think that it's important that folks get out today and do what they need to do. If we believe by tonight, certainly overnight, that a full travel ban is required, we won't hesitate to take that action, but we're not ready for that yet.
Commissioner, you were also talking about moving snowmobiles and ATVs.
Yes.
To prepare for possible search and rescue and life-saving maneuvers. What are you concerned about in particular?
If motorists go out against guidance and they get stuck, they will likely need, if it's at the height of the storm, we will need tracked vehicles to make those rescues instead of regular first responder vehicles. So we've surged snowmobiles and other tracked vehicles into the area in the event that we'll need to make those rescues.
But can I just respond to something on that? The situation where you would need to have search and rescue snowmobiles deployed is totally preventable. If you remember the images from 2014, 2006, and going backwards, it is a frightening situation when you insist on driving, you go off the road, you can't be seen because the snow is so high, the visibility is zero, and you can actually suffocate in your own vehicle. We can prevent that. That's what we're here today to say. Don't make us have to do that. Western New Yorkers, we're just beseeching you, please just stay home and don't put at risk all these other people who have to go out in bitter cold weather, our hardworking state and county and city workers. Protect them as well. So that's called being proactive, preemptive, and I hope we don't have to go there. Mayor, you had some comments?
Ron?
Well, he has some comments.
Yeah, let me just say, yes.
Is there any reach out now to private contractors saying, if we need you, then you come in, you get our work?
Yes, that's already happening. Yes, absolutely.
And same with the county, yes. We actually have high lifts as part of our fleet. We also have big snow blowers like this, but we also have on the side private contractors available if we need it. And hopefully we won't, and as long as people stay off the streets, I think our crews are going to be able to handle this. It's when people don't and the roads get blocked that then we have to bring in those private contractors.
So the city has already made a decision to bring in private contractors so that we can get into the residential streets more quickly. It was something that was a concern last year. So private contractors have been retained by the City of Buffalo, in addition to the support that the state has already committed to giving the city, and we thank the state for their very proactive outreach to us on that. It's also important to note that people have to follow the alternate parking regulations in the City of Buffalo. There was a major problem with snow removal last year because people did not park their vehicles legally, and it made it impossible for snow plows to get down some streets.
The city of Buffalo has also implemented a new system where you can track snow plows and where you can see live road conditions. At this point, it looks like a lot of roads have been colored in as if the snow plows have already been out there. Is that the case, or is that system going to be fresh?
So we have plows out that are pre-salting as well. The state is pre-salting, the county is pre-salting. So yes, we do have plows out right now, pre-salting roads in the City of Buffalo. We have also suspended garbage and recycling pickup on Friday because we want our drivers to focus on the snow removal effort.
I think as the first governor from Buffalo since Grover Cleveland, I'm the most experienced governor who's ever had to be called to handle a Western New York snowstorm. So the playbook is coordination. It's about anticipating the worst case scenarios that I've lived through as county clerk 2006 in that era when we saw a city paralyzed with the October storm. I'm old enough to have lived through the blizzard of 77. None of you here are, but the blizzard of 77 is still fresh. So those experiences say, coordinate early, start having the conversations, and not be territorial. And what we saw in past storms, which was not acceptable to me now as governor, when you'd have New York State snowplows going over city streets and lifting their plows because it wasn't their jurisdiction. And the residents are saying, what is going on here? So because of our coordination in advance, New York State DOT snowplows have offered to take on some of the major arterials in the city so the city can work on the side streets. So that's part of the playbook of saying never again. Also the playbook is how the Thruway Authority, how the Thruway itself can become paralyzed and people literally hanging on for dear life. I remember a busload of students trying to get back from a sporting competition, stranded there, the moms with kids in cars. We are trying so hard to prevent that scenario based again on the playbook, the experience, and also the coordination with localities and having resources like the snowmobiles and ATVs positioned and ready to go. And also having 5,700 utility crews ready to step in. I said, I don't want them to realize, they're over on Long Island. It's going to take them 2 days to get here because of the snow. Start coming now. So those are all the lessons of the past that I've lived through, this team here has lived through, and that's why we'll get through this, assuming Western Yorkers cooperate with us. Thank you, everybody. Those families need justice. Those families deserve justice. The pain is still raw. We just observed the 6-month anniversary a couple of days ago when I was here, and it's going to be hard for the families as the court proceedings continue and they have to relive the horror they went through because of the loss of their loved one. But the system needs to work, and those families deserve justice.
Well, as the governor said, the families need justice. The families have demanded justice. It is going to be difficult for the families. It will open up that wound again, but I think it's good that this individual is pleading guilty.
Thanks, everybody. Appreciate it.